Start my speech. Wow, that last speech was like so good. It impressed me so much. He's probably going to be a CEO. But did you know that left-handed people are 90% more likely to become CEOs than their right-handed counterparts? When I first heard of this statement, I started practicing things with my left hand. Because wow, did you know that? Do we all know that? Probably not, because I just made that up. Right here, right now. Some of you probably entertained the possibility that it was true. Why? Because I said them with authority. Because I packaged them like facts. Because as human beings, we're wired to trust information that feels true. And that's the problem. From newsrooms to classrooms, from advertising to algorithms, your thoughts are not entirely your own. That's terrifying. We live in a world where information feels endless, and the truth is buried in noise. It's not just anything. Even the most prestigious institutions like Harvard are guilty of having research papers published in high-profile journals with fake results. Pseudoscience. Even presidential candidates routinely make exaggerated or entirely false claims during elections to win your vote, to win your trust. Media outlets across the spectrum carefully frame narratives. For what? To provoke outrage, for admiration. It is calculated in everywhere. It's propaganda. Now, propaganda isn't limited to just dictatorships, war zones, or big bad government sense. It's everywhere. It's subtle, and it's tailored just for you. The vast majority of the information that you consume, what you read, watch, what you hear, is deliberately calculated to form your opinion for you. They don't ask for your judgment. They hand it to you, gift wrapped in just enough truth to be believable. But here's the scary part. You are not immune to propaganda. You think, not me, I'm critical, I'm informed, but the very design of modern communication systems is to bypass your defense. They work because they're fast, half-truths spread quicker than full truth. They're simple, complex issues that boil down into catchy slogans or emotional headlines. They're tribal. They weaponize your sense of belonging, pulling you to one side and villainizing the other. Propaganda works because it appeals to your emotions, simplifies complex realities, and all they do is provoke your emotions. They fill in your gaps in your understanding with something that feels easy. Isn't that terrifying? That your thoughts are never your own in the first place. There are two ways that this happens. One, direct manipulation. This is the truth. Anyone who disagrees is wrong. Look at the horrible things this person did. Why would you still support them? See how this person is a hero? They're the only person you can trust. Facts are cherry-picked, sensationalized, and tailored to provoke outrage or admiration. Two, indirect manipulation. Showing you just one side of the story, giving you fragments of truth that lead to oversimplified judgments. Conveniently leaving out details that might complicate the story. They capitalize on your cognitive bias, from confirmation bias to fear-mongering. They expose and exploit our ever-shrinking, decreasing attention span. What this means is most of what you know isn't yours at all. It's borrowed, it's shaped, it's sold to you without your consent. But hold on. Why is truth so rare though? Because truth is slow, it's messy, it's complicated. And let's be honest, most of us don't want that. We want our opinions quick, our news digestible, our narratives clean. But we have this general tendency to seek patterns, to make sense of the world, to categorize everything into neat little boxes. Good versus evil, right versus wrong, us versus them. Let me give you an example. A political scandal breaks out. One side claims, this politician is corrupt. Here are 3 examples. The other side claims, no, that campaign is a smear campaign. Here's what's really happening. Which side is right? The answer is usually neither, or both. But by the time you figure that out, you've already formed an opinion based on what you were exposed to first. That's how propaganda works. It doesn't want you to think, it wants you to react. And as long as you're reacting, you are not questioning. But this plays right into the hands of those who seek to control your thoughts. Media outlets know this, and they're designed to take advantage of it. They don't just report facts, they frame them, shape them, and spoon-feed them into you in a way that confirms what you already believe or pushes you towards what they want you to believe. Narrowing down your freedom to think. The real battle then is on you. It's a tug of war over your mind. Because you're a statistic. You're not a person with complex morals, ideas, and dilemmas. To them, you're a statistic, a target audience, a number in the quarterly report. Your clicks, your votes, your outrage, they all add up as power for someone else. This is the reason why the more divided we are, the easier it is to manipulate us. When you stop thinking critically, you're more vulnerable to radicalization, drawn to extreme ideas because they feel easier to cling on to than the uncertainty of truth. We don't just live in a world of truth, we live in a world of stories. And those stories are designed to pull you into a crowd mindset. Think about it. Our brains are wired to take mental shortcuts. When faced with incomplete information, we generalize, we assume, we oversimplify. And then there's peer pressure. If everyone around you thinks X, how long before you start thinking X too? Peer pressure and crowd mentality make it socially dangerous to question the dominant narrative. But just because someone talks fast and aggressive doesn't make them entirely right or the only opinion out there. Without critical thinking skills, you're a sitting duck, vulnerable to whatever idea is packaged the prettiest or shouted the loudest. But why does this happen? Do you ever question that? Because such ideas benefit the powerful. Corporations and politicians thrive when society is divided because division creates predictable tribes. Media outlets, social media platforms profit when you're outraged, angry, or scared because those emotions keep us scrolling, and scrolling equals profit. It's by design. This is a trap, the propaganda trap. It's designed by corporations, governments, and media giants who profit off of your attention, your conformity, and your outrage. Every headline, every ad, every soundbite is a part of a system that keeps you reacting instead of reflecting. Our social gaps widen. We get pulled into the extremes, quick to generalize and demonize. They don't want you to ask questions like, whose narrative, what benefit would they gain if I believe in this narrative? What's being left out of the story? Am I forming my opinions based on evidence or emotions? Because the very moment you start asking those questions, the moment you think for yourself, you break free. Of course, the question then is, how do you start owning your thoughts? I'll tell you 5 things that work for me. Number 1, start with skepticism. Treat every fact as a hypothesis. Ask, who benefits if I believe in this? How does that work? How? Why? What if? Your thoughts may not be your own, but your curiosity is. Use that to your power. 2, seek contradictions. Read sources from opposing sides, not to choose one, but to understand the full spectrum of perspective. Read books, watch videos, engage with communities. The more perspective you expose yourself to, the more you'll realize that there isn't one right way to think. 3, learn to sit with complexity. The truth is rarely black and white. Be comfortable with gray areas. 4, be comfortable with uncertainty. Because not everything has an answer to it. Sometimes the answer is, I don't know yet, and that's okay. It's okay not to have a definitive answer. It's okay to hold conflicting thoughts. The world is messy, and acknowledging that is a sign of strength, not weakness. 5, lastly, Practice silence. Step away from all the noise, news, cycles, social media, echo chambers, and give yourself space to think. Like, when was the last time you questioned if what you believe is just a story that you were taught to repeat? After all, true freedom isn't just the ability to choose what you want to believe. It's the discipline to think deeply before you choose. When you stop letting the world feed you its narrative, you reclaim something precious, your mind. And when you reclaim your mind, you stop being a statistic, a target, or a pawn. You become something far more dangerous to the system. You are a thinker. And that, my friends, is how you change the world. Not by buying to the loudest ideas, but by listening to the quiet truth within yourself. So, did you know that the human only uses 10% of their brain at any given time? No, but I'll look into it and let you know. Thank you.